Hey, it's me again. It is the day before Thanksgiving, 2019. I think it's the 27th. Yeah, November 27th. Um, so I'm hoping that my roommate doesn't come home for lunch while I'm filming this. It's almost 2 o'clock. Normally he comes home between 1 and 2. So I'm hoping this is too late for him to walk in on. But if I close this out, that is why. I'm sorry. Um, So, the thing I wanted to talk about today is the fact that it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. And um, for the past 7-ish years of my life, Thanksgiving has been my least favorite holiday by far. I always like getting together. Okay, take that back. I think I like getting together with family, but it's always crazy. Um, Thanksgiving, let's just say politics wise, Thanksgiving is very interesting. I always have a couple people in my family that want to debate everything. And yeah, it gets pretty interesting, especially these past couple years. Um, so I'm trying to prepare for that. That's always fun. Um, and then the other thing I want to talk about is the fact that Thanksgiving sucks when you have an eating disorder. Um, I remember plenty of years where I would show up at Thanksgiving and be completely freaked out about all the food, look at it and be like, oh my God, because there's like carbs, lots of carbs when you look at it. So, like stuffing and mashed potatoes and pies and all of that stuff. Um, and then Thanksgiving is the one holiday where people are always like, "Oh, I have to like." I don't know. I'm trying to think of comments that I've heard. There's a couple of people in my family that say like, "Oh my God, I ate so much, I'm gonna be sick." Um, that one's always hard to deal with, especially um, having bulimia. Uh, and another year when I couldn't really bring myself to eat much of anything. It was one of my low points, and that time I had more anorexic tendencies. Um, and I remember eating barely nothing, and everyone was like poking fun of me. They're like, "Oh, you need more on your plate. You're stick thin. You need to get some more meat on your bones," and all those ridiculous comments. I hate hearing comments about people's bodies when they're eating. It's such a turn off. Like, just don't do it. You shouldn't judge anyone or yourself for what's on your plate as long as I don't even want to say eat in moderation, just eat what makes you feel good, but also keep in the back of your mind like your health too. Um, Intuitive eating. Um, so yeah, just because if you put something on your plate and someone comments on it, it's always hard to end up eating it, even if that person that comments on something is yourself. Um, so yeah, just don't comment on other people's food, um, and eat what you're comfortable with. Try not to stress yourself out, and try really hard not to use behaviors. That's gonna be my goal this year. Even though I'm almost a year and 2 months in recovery, last year I had a slip up on Thanksgiving. So that is my goal this year, to get through Thanksgiving. I know it won't be stress free, but I'm hoping to at least bring stress levels down enough where I won't feel the need to use any behaviors. So that is my goal. And one other thing I wanted to talk about actually is veganism and eating disorder recovery. Um, so It just so happens that this is kind of coinciding with Thanksgiving, but lately I've reached that stage in my recovery where I've been kind of analyzing the angle from which I come at veganism. Um, been vegan for almost 2 years now. Um, and I started out being vegan when I was in my eating disorder. Um, so, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. So, I started out in my eating disorder, and I was coming out of an anorexic episode. Um, and the way that I convinced myself to eat and be healthier was to um, find the least cruel way to eat, if that makes sense. Most compassionate way to eat, let's put it that way. So I also, this was around the time when I first started studying Buddhism, and I um, decided that I didn't want to contribute to any more of the suffering that's been going on in this world than I had to. Um, so obviously that meant cutting out all meat, and that wasn't a problem. I've been doing that off and on for many years before cutting it out for good. The longest I went before was, I think I made it a year, and then I went like a couple months, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it again. So I was like always off and on with that. Um, and even when I did eat meat, I was never really a fan of it. So that part was super easy, and made it even more easy at the time because I had previously cut out meat because I didn't like it, um, like health wise. I'm like, there's too much stuff with it. I don't want that in my body. And then the other thing I cut out, the first thing I cut out actually was milk products. I've always been a drinker of dairy alternatives. It's just basically how I was raised, but I slowly cut out other um, like dairy in stuff that you don't think there's dairy in. Like a lot of chips will have dairy in it for no reason. So then I cut out all those, and I slowly started incorporating more vegan foods. Um, like a lot of stuff is accidentally vegan, they call it. So like Oreos. There's actually a debate on Oreos. Some, it depends on where they get the sugar, apparently, because some places will use bone char to whiten sugar. Um, so that's kind of been up in the air, but it, as far as I'm aware, it hasn't really been proved or disproved that um, the makers of Oreos use that kind of sugar or not. Um, anyway, so I cut out foods like that, and lately, like, I've still been I've been vegan. However, lately I realized when it's mostly since I've moved out of school and into here, we've been going out a couple places, and especially with like people's families and things, and they'll be like, "Oh, do you want some of this?" And I'll be like, "No, thanks. I'm vegan." And then like I'll explain it. They're like, "Oh, okay." And sometimes I'll get like a little bit of like snarky comments about it, but most of the time people get it. Um, however, past couple times that I said that, the first thing that popped into my head, not the first thing that came out of my mouth, but the first thing that came out of my mouth was animal rights, human rights, better for the planet, climate change, those kind of things. But one of the things that popped up in my head was calories. And that bugged me because my eating disorder has been trying to find small ways to come back in my life for a few months now. And I'm like, that's not happening. So actually, the last time I was offered something, it had a little bit of butter in it. And that was it. The rest of it was okay. I'm not going to say what it was. But the rest of it was okay. There was no other dairy product. There was just like a little bit of butter. And the person who made it was like, oh, it was literally just like a little pat of butter. And I looked at it and I was like, and I kind of stared at it. And then I ate some because, first of all, the thing that went through my head was this person was really proud of what they made. And I could obviously tell that. And like part of me didn't want to hurt their feelings. So like coming in from my perspective, I didn't want to cause them any suffering. The butter that they had, I actually went in their fridge to get something to drink. And I saw that it was grass-fed butter and organic, and like I don't know. Like my brain is like, none of this is okay. You shouldn't have eaten that because like the dairy industry. But the whole reason I wanted to say no, like that wasn't the thing that came up in my mind. The thing that came up in my mind was calories. You shouldn't be eating that because it has too many calories in it. And no, like I can't let my eating disorder win. So what I did actually, cheese has been one of the biggest things that has bothered me. Um, so like there'll be like foods out there that people are like, oh, do you want some of this? And then I'll be like, no thanks, it has some cheese on it. And the last time that it happened, it was a pizza, and it was actually an all veggie pizza with a little bit of cheese sprinkled on top. And when I mean just a little bit, I literally mean like a little bit. It wasn't Parmesan cheese. I won't eat Parmesan cheese. That's a topic for a different video. It has something to do with the enzymes, how it's made. It's not. Parmesan cheese actually isn't vegetarian even. In case you were wondering. Um, so basically, I didn't eat it because I just looked at it and was like the thing that popped in my head, and I keep coming back and over to this again and again and again, was it has too many calories in it. So what I did actually for lunch today, the last time I went to the grocery store, I buy all the stuff that I normally bought, and included in that was a couple of these miniature pizza crusts. So today, I made a pizza. I used a jar of marinara sauce that I used the other day for making pasta. I saved a little bit of it. So I have the pizza crust. I put some sauce on it. I have a piece over there. That's what I'm looking at. I spread a bunch of sauce because I like sauce on my pizza. And then I put some zucchini on it, and I put some diced up tomatoes because I like tomatoes on pizza. And some mushrooms, and I was going to do a little bit of onion, but I didn't have any onion sitting in the fridge, and I refuse to cut onions if they haven't been sitting in the fridge, because if you don't know, putting onions in the fridge before you cut them for a solid 30 minutes to an hour, I just store some in there sometimes, because when you cut them, it won't make your eyes water as bad, if not at all. Most of the time my eyes don't water at all, and basically, if molecules are colder, that means they're moving at a slower temperature, which means they're not going to float up in the air and go into your eyeballs. So, fun fact of the day, if you're cutting onions, put them in the fridge. Then, one of my roommates actually bought some feta at the grocery store. And as I was putting my pizza in the oven, I was like, you know what? This thought has been in my head all day, the whole calorie thing. And I don't know why, I feel like a disordered brain, especially eating disorders, they like latch onto the weirdest things. So ever since I said no to that cheese on the pizza, literally all that's been in my head was like calories, 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 calories. That's the only thing that's been in my head since I said no to that pizza. And that was the first thing that popped into my head. None of the other reasons why I've been vegan. I mean, like those popped up in my head afterwards, but the first thing that popped in my head was calories. So lately I've been like, am I still doing this for the right reasons? And I've realized that I still have some fear foods out there that I need to get over for the right reasons and not maybe a partially disordered reason. So I have a couple challenges that I've written out and I've given myself. One of them was I put cheese on pizza, just a little bit, not a lot, because I want to do it with good intentions. Because I feel like if I don't come at veganism with good intentions, it's gonna hurt me. And in order for me to do any kind of greater good, I need to take care of myself. So um, I challenged myself at lunch. I put some feta cheese on a veggie pizza and I ate it. I will admit it did taste weird. I haven't had cheese in a long, long time. So that was kind of weird. But I did it and I haven't had um, any disordered feelings afterwards. I didn't have any thoughts like, I need to go work out, I need to fast, I need to not eat carbs or whatever. I haven't had any of those thoughts. Didn't even have the thought to like throw up, which was really impressive, actually. And I have one slice sitting over here still. It's pretty cute. I like making mini pizzas. So there it is. It's actually pretty good. I'll eat that when I'm done with this. But so I'm slowly conquering additional fear foods that I didn't know existed. Um, so I'm making progress. And when I'm done with those fear foods, I will stop eating them again. But I feel like I need to come at this from a non-disordered place. And I feel like it was slowly turning more disordered. Um, I don't think it was quite, maybe, I don't know. Um, I'll have to talk about this with my therapist, I think. Um, I don't think it's orthorexic. Not sure. But anyway, I do know I'm going to start incorporating some of these fear foods, get them out of the way, and then I'm going back into full veganism because that's what I have found is right for me. It makes me feel better. It helps the planet, it helps animals, and it helps humans that have to work in subpar conditions too. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. I think that's it. Um, and I know if I ever make this video public, I'll probably get some nasty comments for saying I'm vegan but having just eaten cheese. And all I'm going to say towards that is if you're really about being cruelty free, you got to be cruelty free to yourself too. Otherwise, you can't do as much good as you can in the world. So I'll leave it with that. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Oh, and I haven't shown this the past couple of videos because I haven't been quite as nervous. But I always had my water here, so I feel like I just need to put this here because I feel like this is one of my signature things. So yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day. We're supposed to get a snowstorm here, so if you have a snowstorm by you, be safe traveling for Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a good stress. I'm not going to say stress free because it's going to be stressful, but I hope you have a happy, healthy, both mind and body holiday tomorrow. So, bye.